Hello to everyone, and welcome to this presentation. And thank you to take time this morning to be there with us. So my name is Bruno Calatayud. I am the business developer at Efficat for all the America continents. And today I will show you and introduce you our product SWOOD Center in the in the integration of the webinar series we have done from April and May. So this is almost the last episode and the end of the saga Game of SWOOD. We will have an additional session on Thursday for SWOOD BW, that stands for SWOOD Beam and Wall, that is a specific product for the construction area and the connection to the machine for this typical project. But today, let's be focused on this SWOOD Center solution. So here we can see the agenda where we'll have a view on the two main aspects on SWOOD Center. First, with the configurator part that we have to declare your models, drive your models and parameters, and after the SWOOD Center service that will be able to communicate with outside application and automate your product and production data from a data file to the production document we can generate at the end with the report. We'll also have a look of how that will be integrated with your process and with also the different solutions we can communicate with. And we'll have additional details on how that could be a full custom solution for your needs and how we can go further on this solution with the possibility, as we'll see, to also embed the nesting process with this product. But let's start with the first part and discuss about the configurator. So you know that in SWOOD design we have different parameters and script function in the main. Maybe the main features has SWOOD box and connectors, but we have also the possibility to complete in the SOLIDWORKS and SWOOD models to complete our models with additional parameters and script function to drive different parameters. So that means you are able on any SOLIDWORKS part and assembly have the possibility to, as you can do today in SWOOD box and connectors, to create parameters and to drive them to have different scenario. So this configurator level, just to let you know, is fully including inside SWOOD design. So there is no additional product to have for that. It's something you already have when you have a SWOOD design license. So let's have a look on a short video how that's going to work. So first of all, to activate that, we need to go on our different menu and create this as a new model. And you will see we'll have on the right tab, SWOOD Center, the possibility now to create new parameters. So typical parameters that we already know, for example, from the SWOOD box with the distance, the angles, the strings, the integer, and so on. And of course, the possibility like that to customize the properties with the names, the alias, and of course the link to the SOLIDWORKS definition, the SOLIDWORKS link to be able to drive everything. So you can see now when we update our model, we can have on the left side all the parameters we have exposed to be able to drive everything at once. So now we are going to create an additional type of parameters with what we have named an object parameters, and that's only to be able to drive the different SWOOD objects. So we can drive a panel, we can drive a SWOOD box, and we can drive also another SWOOD Center model. So for example, here we create a drawer and a shelf object, and we are going like that to connect it to the shelf and the drawer SWOOD box to be able to have access to the different parameters on this different SWOOD box. So if we have a look now, we can see that all the drawers parameters and shelf parameters are visible. And what we are going to do is just to create top level parameters that will drive everything and populate the value in the SWOOD box directly from the SWOOD Center interface. So for example, we are going to create here a drawer quantity. Of course, here we don't need to create a link to SolidWorks items, but we will create a link just by having the equality between the global parameter on SWOOD Center and the SWOOD box parameters we have declared in our object. And so just like that, you see when I'm going to drive my parameter to change the quantity of drawer, that's going to be populated on my SWOOD box feature. And we are going to drive like that the SWOOD box also from a top level. So let's do the same again here with the shelf quantity and the shelves angle. And we are going again, just like that, to just double click on the parameter or also write the parameter inside our SWOOD Center function and script editor, and have the possibility to create the link very easily between the global products and the different parameters. So when we have a look now, we can see, just to refresh and expose the parameters first, but we can see that we have the possibility just like that to update all the parameters of a global project in one form, in one interface, and drive everything at once. So let's change again the angle and change again, for example, the quantity to have a look on the new version of our project. If we uncheck also the automatic rebuild, now we don't have to wait to have a rebuild at each changes, but we will be able to change all the parameters and at the end create the rebuild just like that. So of course we keep the same intelligence in the rebuilds with all the features that we know to update, for example, the connectors, update, of course, the SWOOD box, but also bring all the machining, all the information from the panel and everything like that in our model. So what are the benefits to this configurator level? First of all, is to have the possibility to create parameters and drive them on any SolidWorks file. So the same thing we have done first with our assembly level. We can also do that, for example, on a part level to drive many options on a worktop, for example. And we can also drive all the SWOOD objects, so the SWOOD box, the panel, and even more the SWOOD Center model. We are able to drive them in another interface. And that gives us the opportunity to manage that on a top level version, to have the possibility to change all the different parameters on one interface again, even in a layout like the one we have below. So let's have a look on that, for example, here. So first of all, I'm just going to integrate in my assembly my current and custom project, and I'm going to create a first mate just to position that on the ground. And after, of course, I'm able with my left click and right click to position it and to rotate it easily in my project. Of course, we can combine that with additional things after. Now, when the first things, when we edit our level assembly, we can see that we have directly access to this specific SWOOD Center model parameters and be able to drive from a layout project this model directly just like that. And now, when we come back on the right tab with our definition of parameters, we are able to create a new object linked directly to the cabinet. And we are going to directly select a SWOOD Center model and select our assembly. And like that, we'll be able to have different models directly embed and driven here again in one interface. So for example, we have our bench where we are going to change the high load quantity and the angles, and we are again be able to update directly our cabinet project, and that's going to be rebuilt and customized in the full definition of our project. So that's the first part on the configurator, that it's a SWOOD Center configurator to be able to create our parameters and drive them in different levels directly on a project, on our top level project, with the link to this SWOOD Center object in the interface. But in top of that, we are also able to bring an automation part with the SWOOD Center service. So that's going to integrate in the process of your orders linked to the sales team, up to the design and manufacturing side of your project creation, with the possibility to integrate this module and have an automation on everything. So first of all, let's take an example of what kind of files we will be able to read. So if you got, for example, all the order for a sales guy or for a week of production saved in a data file like a database, SQL or Access, or maybe even on a simple file like XML, TXT, CSV, or Excel file, we will be able, by using a client application, to collect the orders info and parameters, and to directly use the SWOOD Center service to send the query to the different models, and just like that, rebuild the CAD and the CAM function we have on the models. Check if there is some error messages that can be, of course, on the design level, but also on the CAM level. And if there is some errors, we are able to bring back the information directly in the database by using, again, the SWOOD Center service and the client application. And if everything is okay, to directly go and automatically go to the report generation to generate the programs and the workshop documents. And here again, be able to say, we have done this this product with all the customization, and we it's okay to be produced in the database. So let's have a look at how that's work. But it's pretty simple. So first of all, in my project here, I just have written an additional message to have some errors that could appear in my definition. We have after to declare our article, our model, in the list of articles we want to automate, and we are going to launch our service. Here we have a client application, just an example of what we are able to do. And we can see for this order, we have 3 lines, and on each lines we have all the parameters with the same alias and different values we want to drive for that. So here it's an application that is, for example, reading the information in the SQL database. And when we click on the compute order button, we are rebuilding directly all the project. And you can see on the right of the screen, we have the jobs folder, where we'll directly and automatically create the different version of our cabinets, and at the same time be able to generate the documents for the production with the report. So that's the result. We can see that we have 2 lines that are okay, and 1 that we have a wrong angle value. And here we can see directly that we got the final definition with, for example, our first report for this version of cabinet. And if we come back on the 3.3 order, we can see here again another version. And like that, it's really easy to have the different version of all your project with, for example, the management here of the drawer quantities, the dimensions, the shelf quantities, the screen position, and so on. So let's talk more about the custom solution and the client application we have seen. So first of all, yeah, sorry, it's not in the good order. So first of all, how we can use the SWOOD Center service. So just to let you know, there is some API available to communicate and to use the SWOOD Center service to communicate between your database and the models. And we have like that library of queries that you can use to really customize the client application. So there is some essential and standard actions that we have. So for example, can be to read the data, of course, from the database, send the request to the SWOOD Center model using the SWOOD Center service, and write back the results information in the data file. But as this is really a client application, so it's an external exe file, application file, you can really customize all the actions you want, and again use the SWOOD Center service to communicate that to your models. But we can think about, for example, have a status order like we have seen in the first part, where we can have the order to process on error, or all of them, maybe the failed order, and also maybe choose different type of launch process. So here we have a manually launch process by clicking on the button, but we can think about something that will be launched every day at 6 p.m. At the end of the workday or something like that. So let's see now with what kind of application we can communicate. So first of all, of course, we can communicate with different type of ERP system. So that means we are able to directly link in a database, like we have seen in the first schema, all the information regarding the different orders and parameters. So I want cabinet 1 with any dimension, any material options, and so on. So here you have few examples of standard ERP like Sage, SAP, or Microsoft Dynamics, and more woodworking oriented solution like SOLIDWORKS in North America and Silob in France. We can also communicate with some sales application. So that means all the application you can find on the market to create some standard project in a shop, for example, but will after send all the information in another database, and we will be able to read that. Okay, here we don't talk about direct connection to this sales application, but we know that behind this sales application there is always a database to have the order information, and like that be able to have the production information, and also be able to communicate, for example, with our application. So just to let you know, this is of course just a few examples, but as you have understand, the important thing is to have at the end a data file with all the information inside, and we have the possibility like that to communicate with thanks to SWOOD Center, and use SWOOD Center as a production configurator. So let's have a look now if we want to go further. So that's the standard scheme we have seen at the beginning, but we are able with SWOOD Center also to add in the middle, for example, the nesting part of the project. So let's come back on another client application. Here we have the result we have seen just on the previous video. We have changed in the database, for example, the angle to have something correct, and also the quantity of project. And we are going to compute again here the project. So of course, everything that has already been done and customized for the line 1 and 3 are not done anymore. We are just going to rebuild the second line that was in errors before. And when it's done, now we are going to create a nesting job. So we are going to name it. We will be able also to choose a nesting template configuration from the nesting file, And just by clicking again, we are going to create here the nesting result, and also, and again, all the documents for the production with the generation of the all the programs, the CNC programs, and also all the documents for that. So when it's done, we just go inside. So we have our assembly final, and we have also all our report and the possibility like that to open it. For example, here in Internet Explorer. So I have the list of all the sheets with the different projects mixed together, the different material, dimensions, and so on. And of course, I have the details and the labels directly generated from the report. So just to summarize on this presentation, what are the benefits to use this kind of automation solution? Of course, is to save the time from the design to manufacturing. We have seen during the video that we have defined first a product with all the different options, and after we just have to click on one button to run the process and create dozens, maybe hundreds of different versions of our products with all the customization we have from the consumer of our products. Of course, that will give us additional security and reliability on the definition of our project, because once the product is fully defined and fully custom, we don't have any actions done by the user. We can directly launch everything and have the same result without any manual action. And that will have the possibility to develop a range of new products, and this product could be full custom. So we have seen that we can go really deep in the customization with maybe the quantity of items, of course, all the dimensions, and also additional material, edgements, control, and so on. So we can really, on this full custom product, at the end, because we have to prepare as a first step, of course, but after that we have nothing more to do but just run the process, have a high rentability on a part of your activity, of your business. So let's finish with some potential applications that we already have done with our customers on SWOOD Center. So for example, all the fronts and the frames, of doors, drawers, that can have different and various options, material, quantity of hinges, all these kind of things, to have everything prepared and done at the end. Same thing regarding the worktop, all the different model of worktop. So here we are really linked to maybe just one part or maybe 5 parts for the front, but we can do that with a lot of various models and a lot of different options in one different model, just like that. Same thing regarding the standard doors, the interior doors have, of course, all the dimensions, the options to have an oculus or not when you are in an architectural project. That's the kind of application that are really good to, once we have defined the model, to create the various definition of the product. But that can be also used for other type of projects. So that can be, for example, office furniture, bathroom furniture, furnishing like sofa and so on. But what we need to keep in mind that this is fully applicable to any kind of wood sectors with models that are completely defined and with a lot of customization that we are able to do. I just have to finish by saying thank you to everyone for this morning, to be there with us and to have seen this presentation. And once again, if you need additional information, don't hesitate to send us an email or to contact your local partner and reseller of SWOOD.